Hey guys, welcome to my first ever sketchbook talk. And well, how do I put this? Sketchbook talks are basically gonna be obviously a speed paint of whatever I've been doing into my sketchbook, and just with some voiceover of something to talk about. Usually it's gonna end up being art related, purely because art's on the screen and I want to talk about art. And that's gonna be how it goes. Now, all these sketches in my sketchbook, although for a while you're just gonna see this piece, they're not always gonna be full-fledged, not even full-fledged sketches. They're gonna be little concepts, and for right here, it's me playing with a mop-up page and being like, okay, how can I turn this into a thing? And I got inspiration, and that's what you're seeing. And I'll talk about the pieces as they go by, but for the most part, I'm going to stick to another topic, and that's going to be art goals. Excuse me. I have a lot of art. I have some goals for myself, and I can break them down. And for me, those art goals, specifically on, let's say, creating art, I want to create more art. And specifically, I want to create maybe more fan art, because I haven't tapped into that, and I want to make those into speed paints. As for art improvement much, I obviously want to improve with getting over art blocks and getting inspiration and actually getting myself to draw, since that's been my biggest push. And for some of that, and I'm not making an excuse with it, but some of it is schoolwork. I get so burnt out with all of that. But hopefully since summer and hopefully going into high school next year, that'll change. As for drawing itself, how I draw people, my biggest thing with that is maybe proportions, even though I've gotten a lot better in leaning. Because sometimes I realize, especially when I'm trying to film, and the angle I sometimes have to look at when I'm filming, because I'm trying to avoid having my head in frame and fail anyway, I end up having my artwork lean, even though I don't want it to lean that way. And it becomes very annoying because, crap, I gotta fix this, and I want it to be symmetrical, blah, blah, blah. Other art things I should probably improve on is, I say composition, because I don't have a very interesting composition, especially when it comes to drawing actual figures most of the time. But yeah, with these art goals, I forgot the word there for a moment, I think it's actually pretty important to have some of them, because if you're not creating art with the purpose of improving, which is okay, but if you don't have an idea of what you need to improve on, you're not going to be able to make art goals. And if you don't have art goals, you're probably never going to really improve all that much. You'll improve here and there as you just simply go by with experience, but you'll never be improving at a rate where it's noticeable and important to improve, which is something I've been trying to work on all of my 8th grade year, and I'm hoping to work on all throughout high school, because I want to make art my career. I don't know exactly how yet. Maybe it'd be YouTube, or maybe I could be a graphic artist, or who knows, maybe I could do something not exactly fine arts wise, but maybe be a director or go into cinematography. Stuff like that. And without these art goals, you're not going to really get far. You're not going to be able to go and improve. And I think it's just a very important thing, and I guess it's worth bringing something to talk about. Another thing with art goals, maybe not so much as art related, but video wise, I need to make more art related videos, because this is my first one, I think, in a long time, maybe the first this year, which for me, wanting to be an art channel, yeah, not very good. I'm not saying my vlogs aren't good. Well, I get it, they're crap compared to some other things. But it's my primary focus wanted to be of art and some form of entertainment. And vlogs aren't usually the most entertaining thing in the world. I can understand where the entertainment comes from, but it's not the most entertaining in the world. Heck, I don't even watch vlogs anymore, because they can get kind of boring unless you have a very interesting life, and my life isn't interesting at the moment, but I'll vlog interesting things when I can. Another thing is how to get from point A to point B. Point A is where you are right now. For me, it's with leaning art and maybe my very cartoonish and not and unable to proportion my head to my body properly. And point B is being able to, make intricate art and large artwork, which is obviously years and years down the road compared to where I am now. But how do you get from point A to point B? Well, one, you gotta make pit stops. Like, you can't just improve everything at once. You have to take your time and start with things like, for proportion, it's like, alright, first thing I gotta do is I gotta study how human proportion works. Like, 8 heads long and blah, blah, blah. By the way, in case you're wondering what I'm writing here, actually, my sketchbook's over there, but it says, he did not eat the yellow paint to feel happy. He ate the paint because he knew it was toxic. This is referring to, I believe, Van Gogh, who ate yellow paint. And many people wanted to romanticize it as, oh, he wanted to feel happy on the inside. No, that wasn't the case. He actually knew it was toxic. Many artists knew it was a toxic paint. Paint was very toxic, like full of lead, I think, at the time. He was self-harming in that sense. And, chances are you're going to find a lot of mental illness reflected through some of these sketch talks, because I myself suffer from mental illness, and I believe this month is mental illness awareness month, so I think it's fitting. These sketches, in fact, were supposed to be a concept where somebody's kind of ripping their stomach open, and a message almost painted in the back and quote-unquote blood is going to be, look how much of a mess you make when you open up. And that isn't like completely mental illness related, but it was a concept, but I just couldn't get it down here. And that's something I guess I should also improve on, which is, working on getting my ideas at least into concepts. And like I said before, these pit stops should be, art studies, maybe studying human proportion, maybe studying color theory, because I know for some, color theory is like the hardest thing in the world, even though I personally love color theory, and I'm actually pretty good at it. And color theory works not even just with art. I've done it works well with makeup too, and outfit planning with fashion. So, like, even if you're not an artist, or maybe draw, like, look into color theory, and look into, like, color meanings, like, what moods color can evoke. And maybe that's a way to improve composition, creating certain moods with how your artwork is shaped and the colors used within it. But to get from where I am now to get to very intricate paintings, or drawings, whatever I choose to do, it's going to be a lot of pit stops. And like I mentioned earlier, pit stops are going to be, little improvements. Like for me, I need to work on like maybe proportioning the head a lot better, and dealing with, artist things like same face syndrome, I'm putting in quotes, and, learning how to make interesting compositions. Although, I guess to start from like where I am now, the best thing to do is work on proportions and how to sketch and make concept art properly. Because those are essentially the bare basics of what a lot of what I want to do in terms of like drawing figures, in terms of maybe doing more abstract things like what you saw first with the yellow paint. It's probably going to end up being more of more composition studies of how do I make something simple into something more interesting, and adding detail into it, and like not cluttering up backgrounds, etc., etc. But once I master that, it then moves on to other stuff, like how do I make the hair a lot more detailed, because I've seen artists do that, or how do I make these things look a lot more realistic and maybe not in my always so cartoony style I have. Although I do like my style in some things, I want to expand with some of these things, because sometimes my cartoony style doesn't fit for an emotion I want to put, especially if we're in deeper pieces. Not saying cartoons can't do that, I mean, even animated cartoons you watch on TV can do that very well. Hint, hint, Steven Universe. But when it comes to overall improving in art, it does take a lot of looking at little things here and there, and maybe accepting the fact that, like, your art's not always going to be your best, like the two things I scrapped earlier. And, like, this concept I probably could have drawn down better. First off, maybe not doing it later in the night where I'm a little tired and loopy. I could have probably worked on, maybe sketching out proportions first, and maybe practicing, you know, how to draw the angel wings with the feathers I'm drawing right now. It's things like that. To really improve and get to your overall art goal, you need to first like make pit stops of like where you have to improve this before you can move on. You're gonna have to, and to do that, like I've seen artists like just, you know, scroll around YouTube and like look up how to solve leaning problems in art, or how to like draw feathers. And then you gotta work on that, and then you have to work on like looking at your art and critiquing it, and maybe getting other people to critique it, which is probably gonna be my biggest like setback right now, because I don't have really good critiques at school, and I'm a pansy when it comes to critiques. So honestly, that's just gonna have to be something I learn to deal with. And I guess that's all I'm really gonna say for this, since I'm nearing the end. Anyway, I hope you all have a wonderful day, and see you later.